Yazol.
Coming up today, we'll be taking a deep dive into the social media ban in South Sudan. What happened and what's going on? This is, of course, your favorite podcast, Yazol. Sot Sukun and the hottest trending stories from out there always.
Yazol.
And our African proverb of the week, the second proverb for the week says, "He who thinks he is leading and has no one following him is only taking a walk." So if you find yourself walking and there's nobody following you, you're not a leader. What do you think this means in your own interpretation, Dennis?
I think leadership is something that, people will naturally gravitate towards you. It is not something that you can force people to follow you. If you find yourself as a leader, you are the one just trying to enforce your authority. That means you don't have the authority actually in the first place.
Okay.
The natural flow of authority is that people will just naturally gravitate towards you and they start following you.
Yeah. Sala kanta do rumon basaya tobur tamam kida. Follow me if you want.
Yeah.
That's leadership by force. Bakumba, what do you think?
I think I think to me pretty much the same thing, but I think I would also interpret it that if you are walking alone, definitely you are not the leader. So if you are just there walking alone, you have no followers. Definitely know that you have no leadership qualities, and you are not called to be a leader. So you better quit that position and become a follower of a leader.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the issue at hand. Of course, the issue at hand is the social media ban. I know they call it a blockade, but it is a ban in South Sudan, which came from the media authority, directing the telecom companies, and in this case, it's Zain, MTN, and Digital, to block social media sites starting this past week, January 22nd at midnight, for at least 30 days minimum to 90 days maximum. The directive, of course, was issued because of apparently the violent attacks and the massacre that happened to the South Sudanese refugees and citizens in Wadmedeni in Sudan. In this case, the government of South Sudan, I think, through the media authority, is saying they are trying to protect, the citizenry in that way. I'm not really very sure. First of all, let's take it that, this very ban itself seems to focus on two social media platforms, which is Facebook and TikTok. Why? Why do you think in this case it's only the two, not YouTube and not WhatsApp and everything else? Bakumba, why do you think it's that way?
I think right now in South Sudan, I believe those are the two major social media
platforms that most people follow.
Most people TikTok and Facebook, and of course WhatsApp is just for communication. We really can't share that much. So the target was definitely Facebook. Facebook is widely used in South Sudan, and it doesn't require too much data to download. I mean you don't need to have a lot of bundles, what they call it over there. To be able to write on Facebook, to follow something, to access Facebook.
Okay.
Even TikTok with the videos, probably you may need more, a little bit, because TikTok has a lot of videos. So that's the reason they banned the two, I think. But the rationale was kind of weird to me, because whatever was being shared in those platforms was not AI generated. Those were actual people. Those are actual people with names, people who are murdered in what murdered. So that idea that there are people are spreading malicious rumors about the killings of South Sudanese or in what Middle East. I mean, those pictures were real. They didn't come from anywhere else. And there was enough evidence to prove that they actually people who were killed over there. So I think so I really don't understand how they came back with that standard banning will stop. I mean, if you want to protest, they will protest. I don't think people actually organize themselves online. The internet infrastructure is not as advanced as in other East African countries. We're still way below standard. So to mobilize people to have a massive protest using social media is not really still there. People are just going to come anyway. So that's my take. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Dennis, I know there's a letter from the East African Law Society, which includes the South Sudan Law Society, and they've said basically the government is taking a disproportionate response to the problem, whatever it is, and basically through that they are curtailing, violating people's freedom of speech, which is enshrined in the constitution, the transitional constitution. People are supposed to be able to express and access information. So South Sudanese rights and citizens, rights are being curtailed by this ban. So the East African Law Society has condemned that, and they're calling for immediate revocation and withdrawal of the decision. What do you think in this case? Is the East African Law Society right in that regard for calling for the ban to be lifted?
I think has a body, has a legal body in East Africa. They go for what is ideal, for people to do, because those kind of bodies, they are trying to champion the freedom of speech, democracy, and all the ideals that people preach. But I think the government of Sudan is taking a precaution from what happened around, in the other country.
Okay.
The revolution that happened in Sudan. Social media was a big part of it.
Okay.
The same thing, the one that happened in Egypt, social media was a big part of it. And the entire Arab Spring was sparked by the social media.
Yeah.
So social media now is a weapon. And it is a tool for mobilization that people can use. With what happened in Wed Medani, a lot of South Sudanese, they found out that government response is very weak, very coward in their response, and they see that more has been done to protect the northern or the Sudanese that are in South Sudan than kind of try to give a very strong speech in regard to what happened in Wed Medani. So there is a demand that the government of Kir should go all together, because that government cannot protect South Sudanese. They have banned to the Khartoum government, and if that government continue to stay, a lot of things is going to happen in South Sudan, which is not for the favor of South Sudanese.
Okay.
So government is afraid of its position as well. So the best thing that they're thinking now is just to kind of do a social media blockade, to just shut it down until things simmer down for a bit, and then they can reinstate it. But how far can they go with that? Is it possible? Because now there is a lot of a way around social media.
Okay.
You cannot shut it down. People who use VPN, because what happens in Sudan when they shut down the social media, people still can access social media using a VPN.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is just it's just a kind of what is being said is different.
Yeah,
but people can go around the social media. Yeah.
Okay, and the East African Law Society is calling for legal action against the government. Of course, that means South Sudan Law Society should basically go to court and say the government is wrong in this regard, because there's legality basis for that, right?
Yeah.
If that directive is curtailing certain sections in the constitution, that is wrong. No law should supersede the constitution, right? But I know up to now there is no direction shown by the South Sudan Law Society. They're going to Mahakama to demand an end to the ban. Why do you think that is the case, Bakumba?
I think we're still living in a dangerous times in Sudan. We are dealing with a trigger-happy government that eventually can shoot people on the street if it's not careful. So the system is still not there. The government is still militarized, basically.
But going back again, how do we have check and balance in South Sudan?
That's another question.
Is judicial independent of the government? Those are the kind of the thing that sometimes that help one part of the government to be accountable to the other part of the government. We know that in the West, those part of the government, they are kind of independent of each other. So there is a check and balance. But with Kir regime, is it possible to hold it accountable for whatever decision that they come up with? That's the question. In my opinion, the answer is no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like pick and choose sometimes, because issue Masland, the directive, the traffic director, when he said, your driving license instead of 5 years should be 1 year and foreigners 6 months. The parliament came out strong, and in the end, actually, the guy had to quit. So there's 1 or 2 cases where the government, the executive, and the parliament and the judiciary seem to kind of go together. But sometimes, like in this case, it's like, this is no go zone, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very volatile
situation. I guess it depends where the order is coming from. So
yeah,
there certain orders that are from powerful people, and certain orders that are from the weaker people, like the traffic guy. So that's maybe it's on the hierarchy, it's not up there. So
yeah. And I know. Yeah, Zolze Ateni Work, former presidential spokesman, he was saying the social media 90 days ban was going to last only a minimum of 3 days. Of course, that's not the case. We know it has lasted longer than that.
Yeah.
And of course, we saw the criticism from the East African Law Society. But fewer hit economists come on one of on iRadio. He was expressing the idea that social media is actually very critical for business, and there's going to be economic impact of this ban long term, right? Because even those digital companies, they use social media first of all to interact with customers and to do marketing. Yeah. We are out here, of course, putting out content. There's so many content creators who use Facebook, and actually those who register outside can actually earn money. Although they are based in South Sudan, they can earn money from these things. So it's not only about those particular videos. The social media is business in the root store, basically, in the business world. So legitimately, Bakumba, I know you have an economic background. It really does, in the end, will affect the economy in that way, right?
Oh yeah, big time. It affects the economy in a negative way, obviously. Yeah, I mean, we are a generation of consumers of social media. We actually consume social media more than any other thing. And as you said, that's where people actually interact. That's where there's a lot of markets. People created online markets using those social media. You can create your own market on Facebook. You register a product there. You can buy and sell on Facebook or on. I'm not familiar with TikTok. So there's a lot of revenue that are going there. People are digitally sitting at home, but they can still make money just with those social media platforms. So any ban affects negatively, absolutely negatively, to the economy. Yeah. So. Yeah, and also even the impact on the telecom companies themselves, because a lot of people buy data because they want to be on social media. Now, if the social media is banned, why on earth will I go and buy those data bundles from those companies to use for what? There's nothing to do with the funds,
Yeah.
So all these things, it affects the entire economy, the circle of everything. So I don't think it's definitely is the wrong choice, and should be limited. But
Bakumba, in this case, it's because like the citizenry hasn't seen Algal. The 3 phone companies are actually not helping them, because Umon can Maslan decide, girl, you know what? Let's actually deal with these guys economically, and we just refuse to buy bundles from MTN or whatever. Then those guys are going to feel the economic impact, and they'll be like, hey, government, you know what? Please reconsider this thing. Well, if you didn't realize that they are that strong. Like what happened in Kenya, for example, with Safaricom, when the things were happening, and then people realize, people's information is being used by Safaricom and given to the government. they basically went against Safaricom, and they what was it called when they said let's go greet somebody or something, right? Yeah, and that really shifted the vibe. But is it because the group of like internet users in South Sudan are not that savvy? Because I know the Kenyan population is highly educated. Junubin, we are not that much into it to understand the dynamics at the highest level, right? That could be one of the reasons.
That could be one of the reasons, actually, because interaction is really, I believe it's still limited in South Sudan. Mostly mostly people who are in Juba, other countries, really the internet infrastructure is really still below standard. So people are not aware of that kind of power, and the choices are really limited. And I think only those 3 companies that are not even offering the best services anyway. So the people have that power, but it requires a lot of education, awareness of all these things combined.
Dennis, I think let's go to the big elephant in the room, which is in this case the situation that happened for Medeni. You know, Hakuma Shamale, they decided to say, they reject the statement the foreign ministry to South Sudan. And it's like they are flipping the script, basically saying, you know what, those people had the right to be murdered because human mercenaries and they are recruited in South Sudan. And then I think also the deputy foreign affairs minister met the ambassador to Sudan there in Juba. For me, I'm still wondering, like, why is that ambassador still there? Why is the Sudanese ambassador still there? They should have kicked him out to show a strong force, right? Yeah.
You know, the problem that is happening in Sudan, or actually what happening with Medeni, have revealed how vulnerable our government is. And also it kind of show Junubin how united Junubin are. Because when people were killed in South Sudan in with Medeni, people didn't go to their tribe. What tribe? No. It's just Moatnin, Junubin, Katolom, and that's it. That's what is sparked all those riots and stuff like that. But on the flip side, it just shows how vulnerable we are as a government.
Okay.
Lana awwal haja zema garangalo. Whenever there is an issue you want to kill it, you just form a committee. And that issue will be killed in the committee. And that's what the Sudanese government did. They came, they sugarcoat the issue, and then they say, okay, they kind of shyly condemn what happened. But they say that we are going to form the committee to investigate. But in the investigation, people who are talking, there are social media influencers. They were warning people who were in Kanabi.
Social media influencers in the north.
In the north, they were warning
South Sudanese.
They were warning South Sudanese and people who were staying with the RSF. Okay. NASA, when the investigation was launched, there is still Mama Sokoman. Nothing has been done to them, and then the investigation is going on. If investigation is going on, these are the first people to be apprehended. They were the one kind of bringing the hate speech. They are the first people to be apprehended and investigated. But those people, nobody touched them. والكبير منهم ذاته زول شال RSF وده مدني اللي بيقولوا كيكل ده. He's part of the government. So انت تيجي تشوف يعني انا كنت كلمت مع ناس تعرف في الدنيا ده you should have your foreign policy. You have to determine which country is a hostile country, which country is a friendly country, and which country is an ally. Those are important for you as a country. Lano, if you don't have those strategic kind of outlook, أول حاجة we know شكل القاعد يحصل في شمال السودان هسه ده those are Muslim brotherhood. Have they changed their mind towards Junubin?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no. They have not changed their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Those people will always be, they are and they will always be a hostile nation to us. And here, our petroleum is flowing through South Sudan.
Mm-hmm.
How can we not be weak?
Yeah,
Humangalo,
makes sense, yeah.
yeah. Humangalo, those are people who were fighting with the RSF.
Mm-hmm.
في جنوبين هسه في حكومة في جيش. واحد ده ريبل ده اسمه ده بتاع those Darfurian rebel اسمه الماس إبراهيم الماس. He's fighting with the Sudanese government. Why is it not a problem? At the same time, there is a lot of Sudanese the South Sudanese mercenaries fighting with the Sudanese army. Why is it not a problem? So, أنا بالنسبة لي, I blame the South Sudanese government.
Okay.
They are the one putting us in a very weak position, and there is nothing that we can do at the moment.
Last time we were talking about Hakuma, maybe they should focus on extending that pipeline. Instead of going north, it should come south to Hoima, connect with the Ugandan one and export oil through Tanga, right? But it seems Nas Lissa Binum to Junub Sudan and Axel Miss Lissa also.
The people, I think there are a lot of people in the government and even among our people themselves. There's people still fantasize this idea of Arabs and Junubin still being friends. Sometimes there's a little bit of fantasy. Some people have that kind of mentality. A bit of it is there, I think, according to me.
Ahwana, this is the thing that we fail to understand. Nas al-Fi Shamal Sudan, those are radical Muslim fundamentalists. Those people, their agenda is never our agenda. They can never be friends with us. They are a hostile nation, Dennis Lissa, and they are danger to our national security.
So what do you think should be the ultimate goal to Hakuma Junub Sudan in regard to the north?
We should define the boundary, how far we can cooperate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mahassa, Intakan Lahassa, the fight between Israel and Egypt. They have reached a kind of understanding.
Okay.
Israel Egypt will make sure the security of Israel is not in jeopardy. And Israel will make sure there is peace in Egypt. They will not be hostile toward Egypt. So there is a clear boundary. In terms of the two nations, على مستوى الشعب ما في علاقة. أنت ما شفت إسرائيليين بمشي في مصر بيجي في إسرائيل ما في علاقة. لكن at the national level, there is that understanding. It is very clear. أنت معي؟ يعني among the all Arab nation, Egypt is the only country that have ties with Israel. But it is a clear, defined kind of a ties how far they can go. Anina Junubin, Shamal is and will always be an hostile nation to us. Whether we like it or we don't like it, that is what it's going to be.
North Korea, South Korea kind of situation.
Exactly.
So I'm just curious though, like in the north, are there actually South Sudanese who are pursuing economic activities as Tashamalin, Al-Fijuba and Awil and all that? Because it seems like our people are just destitute and they can just be fished out anytime and done whatever they don't have the strength. For Junub Sudan, maybe Jamadel, because they have the money, they can put their money together and say, Dennis, we need protection or something. Because nobody really came out very strong to condemn and to chastise the northerners. Instead, they are saying protect Shamalin Delal. Don't go out and do whatever, right?
They are running a lot of the business in Juba. So, and then there have been, obviously, the corruption system, they probably have their godfathers there to protect them, right? So they run most of the business. But in the north, I don't think even before the war, I don't think we have a lot of influence in the north in terms of the Junubin. I think people just went there as urban refugees, pretty much.
Going back, Dedi,
Yeah.
going back like, sorry, Bakumba, going back like Kalam al Fasel now. If Hukuma of Shamal Sudan, if they have a goodwill,
Yeah.
this is what they should have done. They will carry a proper investigation and they will apologize to the Hukuma of the
The Sudan. Yeah.
and then they will pay retribution.
Yeah.
Is it called retribution, right?
Blood money, whatever you got.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Based on what happened, in order to compensate the relative of people who were killed. Intermine.
Yeah. But thinking, sorry, Dennis, thinking about strategically, if Maslan, Hakuma ta Burhan, they use this issue to galvanize their people because they need the support, right? So, like the same way they fought us during the SPLA time, they were able to unite their people through the whatever they used to call the Popular Defense Force or whatever, and they used the rallying call. Yeah, now Junubin are actually attacking us. Now see they are coming in through the RSF or whatever they call themselves. And then the Northerners will now push more towards supporting the government against these so-called foreigners, Junubin in this case, who are innocent people being targeted. But now the rhetoric is they are the enemy. We should all unite and fight them. Do you think that's what the Hakuma wants to do? Because it doesn't make sense. But strategically, does that make sense?
I think they already convinced Sudanese people to stand behind the government. لأنه حاجة اللي قاعد يحصل في Northern Sudan, it is how أخوان المسلمين, the Muslim Brotherhood, those people they have learned the art of camouflaging.
Okay.
When they came in 1989, they actually didn't come that we are a Muslim Brotherhood who want to take over the government. They kind of camouflage behind the army.
Okay.
Until they show their true color. And this is exactly what is happening right now. NASA, they are hostile toward us. This is the thing. NASA, they are not even Junubin Barao. They are against. They are did America that of their disaster.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But those people, if we are not careful, they will be the reason for our own demise.
Yeah.
But it is not something to be taken lightly. It is something that we should take seriously and think strategically. We should have a clear, defined relationship with Mashamal because they are our neighbor after all.
Yeah.
We need to deal with them. But at the same time, we should deal with them in a specific way and not nothing less than that.
With a big stick behind the back, protect yourself. All right. Well, yeah. That basically brings us to the end of this episode. We thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again next Sunday, 8 p.m. Normally, that's when the first episode goes out, and then we'll possibly have another episode on Wednesday or Thursday. Please don't forget to share, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Yazol TV, and also follow us on YouTube and TikTok. Well, in this case, you can't because there's the ban in Juba. But tell a friend to tell a friend. And thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bakumba. And may God bless you out there. And may God bless our good country, South Sudan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yazol.